Top of the morning, chat. How y'all doing, man? Alright, so how we doing this today is we're gonna chop it up with my man HardKoreBob. First conversations we're gonna do on these Sundays, man. Just real talk Sundays. You know what I'm saying? Men being better men. Mental health. Man up. You know what I'm talking about? So we're gonna chop it up with them, see what we working with, you know what I'm saying? Dive in. I'm not gonna give y'all the full conversation, just bits and pieces, you know what I'm saying? But you're gonna see this man every Sunday. He's gonna give us something to talk about.
I was at the bar and I was watching the basketball game, right? Fan was next to me, but I didn't notice because I wasn't paying attention. But I hadn't interacted with anybody at the moment, and I was just sitting there, drinking a glass of water. And when I saw him cheering for the Knicks, I planned to do something funny. And so when the Boston scored, I said, hell yeah, now that's what it is. And he looked over and he said, hey, so he started talking shit. He said, hey, there's some seats over there, buddy. And I looked at him, I just looked at him real serious, like he had spoken Chinese. And I looked over and I said, yeah, there's a lot of them for sure. And then he was like, nah, man, I'm just messing with you. And I was like, yeah, me too. And then they started laughing and shit because they were like, yeah, I planned on saying something crazy when Boston scored because I don't really care who wins or not. And him and his girlfriend started laughing. And we kicked it, man. We started talking. They're from Woodbridge. He's a fire retardant engineer. She's got a podcast going too. She does insurance sales for Geico. And we had a great time. He bought me a beer. That's the first. End up being Puerto Rican, the dude. Doesn't speak very much Spanish, but he's Boricua like me. And he was born a year before my brother on my brother's birthday.
That's crazy.
Exactly on the day.
That's crazy how life works.
there's an example. I chose to make a decision, based on the environment. And we cracked some fun, and one thing led to another. We ended up having a discussion about manhood and how, women are, in such a way damaged by men and this, that, and the other. You know what I'm saying? Because toxicity and boys.
And that goes both ways. And
of course. Immaturity is for both people, because immaturity is simply a win-lose situation. If I was truly a fan and I was upset, it could have been different, because if I truly attach so much energy to a sport, something that's outside of us that we can't control, it's someone else playing, it's just a game. In any case, even if you bet money on it or not, doesn't give you any kind of right to be destructive in a win-lose situation with a person, because he's just a person. You're a person, you're at the bar. Imagine, okay, you were rivals, then what? And then he says something like that, and then you get all butt hurt, you get victim, you get masochistic, and what do? You dump the anger on that person. You become impulsive, and you may slur at him or whatever. You feel me?
yeah.
So you gotta choose. You gotta step back. As a men, step back. That's the biggest thing that you need to understand. When you check yourself and you look at what's going on and you say, I'm going to make this choice and go with it, and you go with it, that's, without being destructive. You got to understand that people got boundaries. It's common, but we forget. People haven't been taught this as a system of operation, so that when then all the other skills can lay on top of it. Everything's a problem. Everywhere you go, there's something happening, and you got to make a choice. If you're thinking about only yourself, then you're going to be selfish and destructive of people. There's always a win-win situation with everything, and it's all about gathering resources and all kinds of things. It's decisions you have to make, because when you think about it, most people are on autopilot. Everyone has a pattern and a style of making decisions, with a different kind of energy. Some people are aggressive, some people are kind, some people are very jolly, and so on and so forth. Because when you meet people outside, you can tell this is an asshole, this is good, and so on. Anything can be analyzed, because again, this thing is just like an operating framework. Anything that happens in life, you can apply this because you have to. In sort of way, you have to operate this way so you can be successful. Today is a peak day. I've done 3 videos. Those were peak moments. I'm recording myself. I'm having this conversation with you. Another peak moment. People nowadays, you ask them for their peak moments. My daughter was born. I graduated high school. I scored that last touchdown for the football game. Very little. So then they're 50 years old and they're like, I've only lived like 10 because I only have this little bit. This time here in my life, I felt fantastic. This time in here, I felt fantastic. But that's it. So you have no real fulfillment. People that die well, they take advantage of their time. Not their time, their self. Because time can't be managed. Time constantly goes on. And so on and so forth, fractally, infinitely. Because we can freeze time. We have that ability now. But what happens is that people get frozen in their brain. They think that they're a computer, and so they go stay in the past and become envious of shit that they don't have anymore, or they focus on the future and become jealous that they don't have something, fear of loss, fear of missing out. You take your energy and you waste it by worrying about things you don't control. I don't control her. I don't control the sirens out in the background. I don't control how much light's coming in. So I have to be somewhat flexible as well. But you don't become flexible until you gain more experience and you educate. It's a flow. It's a game. Everything's a game. But if you don't have an operating system, then you're not a man yet. Because men travel this thing successfully. They're happy. You go at the bar and you see the guy dancing and clapping and smiling at everybody, and what's up with him? Why is he so jolly? What? Because he's got it going on. What has he got going on? His own life, his movie. He's at the bar. He's able to be there. He's grateful that he can have a beer and no one's up his ass or trying to harm him or yelling at him. No, everyone's having a good time. Look how peaceful this is. We don't have bombs falling. We don't have armies going down the road. No, we have freedom. We have the ability to do this. And America is such a beautiful place that people are missing out on the greater understanding of them being the example for the world. Okay? Because America has all this ability, and it could be used for upgrading your life, updating your operating self, right? Because wouldn't you want to be the superstar of your movie? When you watch a movie, the movie begins, and you're like, oh yeah, okay. Oh shit, this happens. And you're in the fucking movie. And all of a sudden it reaches the peak and the dude becomes the thing and gets the girl and saves the day. And you're like crying because the energy is so much that so you can do that every day. And every day you'll be wondering what's going to come next and how will I handle it? I've handled all this in life. I want this to happen to see. Now you start getting yourself into situations to see if you can do it. It's an example of me, for example. A jack of all trades, master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. And so I can do a lot of things. Because if you're focused on just one thing, then that's what your specialty is. I'm a generalist, meaning I could take anything you want and break it down into pieces and then put it back together and figure out what it is and tell you whatever, really. It's a blessing of God that I'm here. And here's the important thing. Your life is what it is because you make it that way. And that's it. There's nothing to it. But people need help because, again, they get stuck in patterns, which are bad habits of decision making and the style of decision making. If you are aggressive all the time because you're a complainer, then guess what? You're not a man yet because and every day there's a moment that you can make the best choice. But you have to start. Today I'm gonna floss my teeth, and you floss it, and then later you do it again tomorrow, and then I'm gonna floss them again, and you'll feel this kind of resistance because when you start something new or something different, or you try to stop something, there's resistance because in your brain is plastic. So as you're doing something, your computer gets programmed for that. When you're trying to change it, it has to break off, and it will. It takes time. The resistance is the breaking off, and then it breaks off and you start a new path. Say you put your keys in your right pocket all the time, change it to the left purposefully, and now you'll find yourself going for your right and saying shit, and going to the left and grabbing the car keys. Something as small as that. Your phone used to be on your hip, put it on your chest. You're going to find yourself going to this hip and saying, damn it, it's over here. And you just broke a pathway. Anything you want to do in life needs to have an operation system. The computer, we're running Windows. Everything else is running on top of it. Improve people are assets. People make money on their own. They have their own ideas, right? So when you collaborate with everybody and you're curious about everybody, but then when you know how you're doing and you're doing well and you see someone else doing not very well, what do you want to do? You want to raise them up. Why? Because it raises you up as well. It's a win-win always. So it's about durable fulfillment. What's the end goal of life? Durable fulfillment, so that when you're dying, you're good. Like, you're good. Everyone around you is having a blast. Motherfucker's dead now. What a fucking life this motherfucker had. It's a celebration. It's a sure, you're gonna be sad, but you're gonna be more fulfilled because he or whoever, they like, I pick up dead people. I pick up deceased every day. There is a family member there that is satisfied with their death because they did so much in their life and for their life. You know what I'm saying? We have to all upgrade each other. I don't care if, like I said, you want to be an assassin, a crack dealer, whatever you want to do. You need something to operate. Eventually, if you're going to be a badass, and that's your play, and you're an NPC, and you're going to be the bad guy and the villain, then be the villain, but be the best villain you can be. You know what I'm saying? Sounds crazy? No, because everyone's right. The guy that stole the bread from the fucking store did it because he had 2 kids at the house that were fucking dying of hunger, because obviously he is down on his situation that he just can't get a lick with anybody because he looks weird and he just has this condition of his skin that makes him smell different, and he tries very hard to do a cologne, and he's very courteous, and he goes over there and he tries to get a job, but nothing happens because the people are from a different kind of culture and they don't accept this culture, and it's blatantly clear by the way these people are behaving towards you. So you're obviously being under some kind of racism and situation, and then what happens? Well, what you do with the next thing is good for you. God damn it, the fucking kids are hungry. You're gonna go out there and get bread. Ta-da! Not a very difficult situation to understand. So it becomes interesting, because then you see that the problems stem to other people that are gathered in groups and make these problems for everybody else below them. It's good that everyone that is on the internet trying to improve themselves, doing it. They're doing it. They're trying. There's people out there giving a message, maybe a specific kind of one, a program, for so to speak. Not an operating system, but a program. Like you download Zoom or you download the Firefox. Well, this is not a program. It's just a way of adding more programs to yourself. This is a system of operation. You operate daily because time doesn't stop. So for you to be successful and free and loved, you have to manipulate the energy that comes at you from the world in a positive way, in a win-win. You can't waste your time. You just can't waste it. Don't waste your time, because then you're going to regret shit. And then, it's going to be a sad funeral. Sounds so dark, but you got to realize one day you're going to pass and you're going to leave something behind. What are you going to leave? Reputations last eternally. That's just how the ancients always did it. They tried to build everybody else up so that the greater good is accomplished, not a localized good. You have to be wise, and that makes life. You have to fail constantly so that you can learn. If you're afraid of failing, you're never going to succeed. You have to fail. It's not about losing. It's always winning. A failure is a win. Hey, I won the knowledge and what not to do.
Exactly.
I won the knowledge. I won. When I failed, I won. You got to know where to focus your attention. If you're focused on the future too much, you're dreaming. If you're focused too much on the past, you're stuck. You have to step back and check yourself. And that's all it takes. It takes skill to do that, and it takes making the right thing every time so that you gain momentum. It becomes a pattern. If you break your patterns, then you create new ones to replace them, because that's just what we do. You have to. This is Hardcore Bob coming at you. And if you want to upgrade your life and you want to understand how to be upskilled and updated and upgraded, hopefully you don't want to hit me in the face with something heavy and hard by the time we're done with the situation. But just give me a chance and let me talk to you. Come talk to me about your situation, and I'll teach you a way to become a better man.